What's up, everybody? Alex here. Welcome back to another video, and welcome to a contest entry, which is fun. It's less about doing winning anything, and more about supporting other people on YouTube and in the community, and showing records. That's what's fun. So this is going out to Doug at the Auditory Vinyl. So apparently Doug has been in the community for a while, but he used to be under a different channel name. He got rid of that channel and has restarted the the Auditory Vinyl channel semi recently. So he's trying to get some momentum and get those subscriber counts back up to where they used to be. And so first thing, Doug, I'm subscribed to you. Love watching your stuff. And, I'm someone who's fairly new to this community, so I was not aware of your past channel, but excited to dive in and support in this contest anyway. So this contest is called, I think, the 1, 2, 3 Go contest. And so first thing is you must subscribe, which I have. Check. And then the first thing is to show a record / call out a channel and the record that you would expect them to show. So at this point, just last weekend, I was hanging out with Mike, MGK Boston, and a bunch of other people in the YouTube vinyl community. But the person I probably spent the most time with, just like hanging out, talking to, digging record stores around, all that type of stuff, was Brian over at Embryonic Robot. Brian, I would like to see you do this contest, by the way. I think you'd be great for it, and you love a good contest. But I bought this record simply because Brian said it was one of his favorite records of all time, and if he was on a desert island, then he would have it. And so I bought it. So I would guess he would show this among other records in this ilk on his channel, and that is Joy Division with Unknown Pleasures. Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about this record and Closer enough. I don't need to. I would probably the least qualified person to talk anything about this record, but I know that Brian loves it, and I trust Brian in his opinion amongst a billion other people. So I did buy this because of Brian, and it's great, obviously. So that's the first thing, is to show that one record and to call out that one channel that they would show. The next part is show 2 records / artists that are not shown in the vinyl community or on YouTube enough. So I thought I could go really obscure and just name some, stuff that no one's ever heard of, but to me, it was more like, okay, some people have heard of these bands, but they just don't get talked about or mentioned enough, and they really should. The first is a band that falls into sort of art rock category. I think probably their closest comparison would be a band like 10cc, but I think these guys are a little bit more rockin' and less artsy. I don't know, but the band is City Boy. This is their debut from 1976. They put out a number of records, again, kind of fall in that art rock, great melodies, great vocal harmonies, hard rock, kind of progressive in the 10cc, the Tubes type of sense of progressive rock. To me, side 2 kicks off with 5,000 Years, Don't Know, Can't Tell, the sort of long suite of songs, which is just one of my favorites. If you like, again, sort of that 70s art rock, great vocal harmonies, hard rock, check out City Boy. I will say that they sort of, I don't want to say they became known, but the claim to fame sort of with this debut and their following records was that it was the first professional work from Mutt Lange, of course, who would go on to produce AC/DC, Foreigner, Def Leppard, Bryan Adams, etc. So well before he was known, he was just a random producer, engineer from South Africa. He was producing this record among others from City Boy. So love City Boy. I wish people would talk about them more. And obviously, I'm a huge prog rock fan, and this band just doesn't get talked about enough. And I'm showing it because I just picked this up for $3. $3, which is like, you're into prog, you're into good prog, you're into cheap prog. I don't think you get much better than Focus. So this is Live at the Rainbow. This was released in 1973. All of these are most of these tracks here are taken from Focus 2 or Focus 3. Focus 2 was sort of also known as Moving Waves here, I believe, in the States. So yeah, awesome stuff. They were really kind of known for like their almost novelty single, Hocus Pocus. But they play a lot of Eruption, which is a sidelong epic on here. Amazing. A lot of times instrumental type prog, but not all the time. Jan Ackerman is just out of control. Amazing guitarist. So yeah, I'm showing Focus. Again, this is Live at the Rainbow, but all their early stuff is good. Up through probably Hamburger Concerto. That's what I call dinner. Anyway, yeah, so Focus, Live at the Rainbow. Good stuff. And then 3 is, this is kind of an interesting one. I love this because this is the type of stuff I nerd out about, is an artist that appeared in 3 different bands, basically. And if you want, you can include like solo work as well. So I pulled a bunch here. There was a lot of people I had in mind who I wanted to do. But the one I went with today, I guess, for this contest is Steve Morse. So I'm showing Steve Morse. This is the Steve Morse Band. This came out in 1984, I believe. This is called The Introduction, but I'm just showing this because, I mean, yes, it's the Steve Morse Band, but it's really Steve Morse kind of solo. Great guitarist. That'll show all the other stuff he was in. Really, his whole big claim in the very beginning was with the band the Dixie Dregs. This sort of fusion, country fried, finger picking, weird, progressive. They're on like Capricorn, but incredible band. You got Rod Morgenstein on here, who was also on The Introduction. But Steve Morse was the main songwriter and main composer. This is some wild stuff here. I mean, if you're into wacky progressive rock with like this weird, almost like bluegrassy, country finger picking kind of like twist to it, violins, all that kind of stuff. I guess there were more fiddles, if you're into this sort of stuff. But this was 78, I believe. Yeah, 1978. This is called What If, my favorite Dixie Dregs record. So it was 78. He was doing that. He was doing a bunch of the other Dixie Dregs stuff. He started doing some solo work. And then in 1986, this is not a great album, but his playing on it is fantastic, is he has a brief stint with Kansas. This is Power from 1986. Again, this is not the best album, although it's good, and his guitar playing is absolutely outstanding. But to me, I love the kickoff track, Silhouettes in Disguise. I think that is an absolute banger of a track. It was kind of one of the singles from the record, too. But yeah, Steve Morse, his guitar playing is just absurd. He is a technical player. Some people say he noodles too much, looking at you, Steve. Yeah, I don't think anybody would doubt how good of a player he is. It just depends if he's your style. So, brief stint with Kansas in 1986. This is Power. And then in the 90s, he really sort of became more popular because he would replace Ritchie Blackmore in Deep Purple. And in fact, he was a member of Deep Purple, lead guitarist, up until I think last year. And so this is a record, Whoosh. I believe his first record with Deep Purple was in the early to mid 90s, though. I can't remember which one that is. But yeah, this is Whoosh. This came out in 2020. This would be the final Deep Purple studio album that he was on of original material. They did a record a couple years ago called Turning to Crime, which is a covers record, because that's what you do when you're like 80, I guess, and bored during COVID. But yeah, this is a cool record. If you haven't listened to Steve Morse era Deep Purple, it's pretty good stuff. It's just very different, and he's a different player than Ritchie Blackmore. But yeah, this is Whoosh. This came out in 2020 and was the last LP of original material that Steve Morse was on. And then last, I'll throw in this, one of my favorite supergroups of all time, progressive, kind of pop, accessible, alternative rock type supergroup. And this is the debut from Flying Colors. This was released, I believe, I remember being in maybe college at the time. So we're talking 2011 or so, 2010, 11, could be wrong. This was shortly after, this was shortly after Mike Portnoy left Dream Theater. But regardless, this is Steve Morse playing guitar, Mike Portnoy on drums, Neil Morse. They're not related, by the way. Neil Morse from Spock's Beard and a bunch of other stuff. Casey McPherson, who was kind of like an unknown singer-songwriter at the time. And then on bass, I'm forgetting his name because I'm a terrible person, is Dave LaRue. I'm just like sitting there looking for the credits. They're all right there, Alex, you dumbass. But this is a very cool supergroup. They put out 3 studio records and a couple live records. Very cool, progressive, poppy, I guess, in a lot of ways. If you're interested in this band, check out Blue Ocean, is an amazing song. Infinite Fire, which is the big epic 12 minutes long. And let's see, what's the other great one here? Love Is What I'm Waiting For. It's like a pop song. So yeah, check it out. But yeah, that is my entry into Doug's contest. Doug, hope you appreciated that. Everybody go check out Doug. And again, Brian, you better get on this because you'd be so great on it and you love a good contest. So thanks for watching, people. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll talk to you on the next one. See ya.